So let me get this straight. Someone broke into your home and they forced you to play Bloodborne all night long. Sorry, but I find that a little hard to believe. No, it's completely true, Adam Jensen. Please believe me. Look, someone broke into my home and they just forced me to play Bloodborne for the rest of the night. I passed out and I woke up and I don't remember what happened ever since. I think they also said something like, "Welcome back, everyone. This is a hamster with at least 1,000 points of insight." Again with another Bloodborne PvP video. So, the network test, the Dark Souls Remaster network test is, it's been over for quite a while now. And like I mentioned in my other video, I actually went back and I played Dark Souls 1 PvP just to sort of appreciate the changes, really. I don't know if anyone got some negative vibes from my last video. That wasn't my intention. In fact, I was praising the remaster more than anything. But yeah, we're back at it with some Bloodborne, some minigun, delicious, exquisite minigun. Most of this is just backup footage that I have because I just want to sort of mention, while I'm also talking about not playing any more Dark Souls 1 PvP. I only played it that once and I haven't touched it since. Similarly, I haven't actually played, I haven't, actively invaded in Bloodborne, I should say, for quite a bit now. There's no particular reason other than, Bloodborne has slowed down a little bit more, actually a lot more, ever since, the Return to Yharnam thing. People got the game for free if they were on PS Plus. Most people have finished the game by now. Maybe a lot of people didn't even buy the DLC. So we're back to the way that things were before Bloodborne got, promoted for some reason. Part of me would like to believe that the reason Sony decided to promote so much Bloodborne is because they're probably either gonna make a sequel or they're gonna get another one-off from software. They're gonna get another standalone game or something of the sort. I don't know. All evidence seems to point out that if they do get another game, it's probably gonna be a sequel to Bloodborne. But you know what? This video is not about theorizing about or theory crafting about what could happen. I'm just sort of mentioning that I have a lot of footage of Bloodborne, and I've mentioned it before, but it's true. I still have at least 60 gigs left, maybe even more. I'm not quite sure. This here is actually Halden before he became an Arcane build, so he was just a cannon man. This is how we deal with R1 mashers in Bloodborne. Right here, you're gonna just shoot him in the gut with a cannon, and that was that. Delicious. So back to the remastered talk. So obviously, Bloodborne is gonna be it's gonna become more irrelevant as time goes on because the newest and the hottest and the trendiest topic right now is actually the Dark Souls 1 remaster, and what everyone's going to be doing. A lot of people, a lot of old school people are going to be coming back. You got Ouroboros, you got Peeve, and whoever the fuck else. Let's be honest, those two are the biggest Dark Souls 1 names out there. But the more exciting part for me is going to be watching the Dark Souls 3 content creators jumping into Dark Souls 1 PvP and having to adjust to the, I'm not going to say the new system, because obviously Dark Souls 1 has been out for, the original has been out for quite some time. But these are systems that they haven't played around with. Maybe they played the PvE, they never got into the PvP. But now that they are, they're going to have to deal with, stuff like Poise, ninja flips, ninja flip, Poise, backstabbers, all these gimmicks, and it's going to be really interesting to see if they can sort of realize that they don't have to be, for example, the way that I deal with flippers in Dark Souls 1, considering the fact that I use an ultra greatsword, which is basically asking to get parried or backstabbed or both. The way I deal with flippers is that I kept a pocket stone greatsword and I used Tranquil Walk of Peace, preventing them from even dodging at all. And the reason a lot of people never used that tactic was because back in the day that was considered, a scummy tactic or whatever, and a lot of people wanted to win legit. Not me. You all know by now that I'm all about the dirty tricks. I have no honor in these games because there's no reason to. There's no reason to put yourself at a disadvantage when it comes to you already having a disadvantage. And that guy ran off and he got killed, so I don't know what happened there. By that I mean that my Dark Souls 1 build is not good at all, but I have fun with it. But in order to keep up, I have to use those tactics, either the Stone Greatsword or Tranquil Walk of Peace itself. But anyway, the reason I'm bringing all this up is because, all three of you that watch my videos, you may be wondering, well, dude, I mean, what are you gonna do with all that Bloodborne footage? I am never gonna stop playing Bloodborne, and I am not gonna stop uploading Bloodborne videos on this channel. There's just, like I mentioned before, this game, I absolutely love it. I think that this game has the closest to perfection in terms of PvP. This is as perfect as PvP is gonna be for a while, until FromSoft releases their newer game, and if it has PvP, because keep in mind that they don't have to put PvP. They don't have to. There's nothing forcing them to do that. They just got pretty famous for their PvP system in general. Are they going to keep it for the new game? We don't know. As of today, there's no new information on the game, which is not called Shadows Die Twice. Shadows Die Twice is the tagline. I don't know why people keep calling it that. Shadows Die Twice. You don't put a period at the end of your title. So it's a tagline. It's not a title. There's no title to the game. But people just, whatever. One guy does it and it catches up and just everyone's doing it now. But you know what? Whatever. So this mysterious untitled game, if it has PvP, I hope that it's closer to Bloodborne and not Dark Souls, because frankly, I've had enough of the janky Dark Souls stuff. And you may be saying, well, you're going to be playing Dark Souls 1 PvP. Why are you saying that? Because Dark Souls 1 PvP is the one that I actually enjoy the most, even if it is arguably the most broken and busted and just glitchy thing that there is. Arguably, you could put Dark Souls 1 and Demon Souls to compete for that, because Demon Souls had a funky netcode, and then you got the grass with the instant heal and all that, and a lot of other gimmicks. But Dark Souls 1, I'm not gonna lie, I enjoy it way more than Dark Souls 2 PvP and Dark Souls 3 PvP by far. Like I mentioned in my previous video, I tried it just to appreciate the network test a little more, and it was just fantastic. I had a lot of fun, so I'm hoping that I can share with you some videos of the network test, do some invading, maybe even get in some duels. For some reason, I don't find duels in Dark Souls 1 as boring. They're still boring, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm going to become a try-hard duelist. All I'm saying is that, maybe I'll throw in the odd dueling video up there somewhere. Maybe it'll be a little bit interesting for you even, because I am pretty much going to be using, what would you call it, underused weapons. I'm not going to be using the meta. I'm not going to be using katanas. I'm not going to be using, flips. I'm not going to be doing any of that, because I just don't see any point in doing that. That's exactly what people were doing back in the day. Why would I just do that again even more? In fact, you know what? There's still people doing it today. And that's another thing I want to bring up. When I played the Dark Souls 1 PvP on my PlayStation 3, there were only a handful of people playing and invading in the forest. When it comes to Bloodborne, I want to be one of those guys. I want to be, one of the last invaders left. And I have a character pretty much covering most level ranges. I have different characters that specialize in different things. They have different themes in terms of being actual characters, that is. I want that, so don't expect me to stop uploading Bloodborne videos. Of course, I will mention that when the remaster comes out, the upload rate of Bloodborne videos is going to go down, obviously, because I'm going to be capturing footage for the remaster. However, I am not going to focus my gameplay, only on catching footage. Like I've mentioned this before, YouTube is not my job. I don't have to work that hard for just capturing footage to the point where I'm going to hinder my own experience. I want to do some invading and just mess around and just have fun. When I'm done with that, and I can say, okay, I'm going to invade and I'm going to try to get some nice footage, and I'll do that. I don't want it to feel like work, is what I'm trying to say, But when the remaster comes out, the Bloodborne content will slow down only a little bit, not too much. I'll try to do one and one, I'll try to upload a remaster video, and then I'll upload a Bloodborne video, and, we can do something like that. So those are going to be the two main things that I wanted to talk about in terms of what the hell I'm going to do with this channel. How relevant is Bloodborne going to be in a year or two from now? Frankly, I don't care. I'm going to keep playing it. As I think Saint Riot said it best, one of his videos. He said that Bloodborne PvP isn't dead, as long as there is co-op, there's going to be PvP, because if there's co-op, you can invade. How frequent that becomes, I'm expecting it to slow down way more than before. So yeah. By the way, I'm sorry if any of these Blood Cop clips are repeats from the Blood Cop video. But the thing is, I have so much footage of the Blood Cop that I forgot to delete the ones that I already used, or at least most of them. So if I have any repeats in here at all of any other character, really, then I really apologize. I'm not doing it on purpose. I legitimately get confused sometimes. The Blood Cop video was incredibly fun. He disconnected. Look at that. He saw the damage. He saw the bullet damage, and he was like, nah, man. Nah, I'm done. Session lost. Bye-bye. The Blood Cop video was incredibly fun to make. You may not think so, because it focuses mostly on literally one-shotting people, like with an actual shot, with a gunshot. But I just found it hilarious that you could do that, and that not that many people were doing that when the online was more populated. You would think that this is the sort of thing that, griefers or trolls or whatever they're called nowadays, you would think that this is the sort of build that they would want to make, especially because the Azuli the Witch's Chalice Dungeons, one of them, you can farm a decent blood-tinged gems for your Chikage and your gun, but the gun is really the star of the show, not so much the Chikage. The Chikage, I actually chose to use it not because it was blood-tinged related, but because it just sort of fit the aesthetic of the gothic times blood policeman. I don't know. Yeah, you know what I mean. It just suits the uniform and the theme that I was going for. Bloodborne is actually, in my eyes, a mix of steampunk and goth style, Victorian era style, It's a combination of those, but the important part is the steampunk part, and look no further than the powder kegs, those are the guys, the steampunk guys. One of my favorites, a group of hunters ever, actually. But I find the combination pretty interesting. And people focus on the gothic and the Lovecraftian inspirations. But a lot of people overlook the fact that a lot of things in Bloodborne are actually steampunk as fuck. The blunderbuss on my back right now, I mean, that has a pretty big steampunk look to it. So it's like this really weird and odd combination of little things everywhere, and that's what I really love about this game. It's not just, and no offense to Dark Souls or anything, I love Dark Souls, but it's not just more fantasy that we have seen before, but with a slightly different style, because we've seen dragons before, we've seen medieval swordplay, we've seen games with shields, we've seen games with wizards and magic dragons, and we've seen all of that before. We've been seeing it for years, movies, TV shows, everywhere. But not everywhere do you see something like in Bloodborne. This weird Lovecraftian Victorian era steampunk goth game, and action game no less, the hunters and the Eldritch Truth and the Great Ones and every single group of hunters and the Healing Church and the blood theme and the ancient tomb exploration, just everything, man. You don't see so much detail and so many mashed up themes fit together so well. I don't want to sound like I'm reviewing Bloodborne, but I mean, this is honestly the reason as to why I can't just drop this game. I'm not going to just stop playing it or quit. You may be wondering, well, how much more fun can you have in the PvE? I mean, you've pretty much done everything at this point, right? Maybe, but, I still find it really fun to just delete a character and start over, just start a new game. I just find it so fun. The beginning of Bloodborne, the starting area in Yharnam, it's one of the most perfect starting areas for any game that I've played ever. The other starting area that it comes close to is the Undead Burg from Dark Souls 1, and the other amazing starting area would be from, and I'm going like in a separate direction when I'm mentioning this, so don't be alarmed. The other area would be the first level of the first Spyro the Dragon game for PlayStation 1. Don't ask me why, but the atmosphere of that game as well just left an impression on me way back in the day when I first played it. So this guy ran away from me. He's gonna get hit by the Arcane Waifu. I think her name is Yuri? I don't know how people are pronouncing it. I don't know. The Arcane Waifu. And the Arcane Waifu kills this dude. And Henrik is a fucking dick, dude. He has so much defense. But then she freezes because she saw way too much out there in the cosmos. Yeah. So silly. But anyway, yeah. This is less of a hunting grounds video and more just like a little update on what I have planned for the channel. But we covered it. I'm going to be uploading both Bloodborne and Dark Souls 1 Remaster stuff. I thought about recording a Dark Souls 1 playthrough, but I don't see that working. I don't think I have that many interesting things to say when I'm just playing the PvE, because I've played it so much already back in the day that I pretty much know all I need to do and everything I need to get, assuming that they don't change any item locations, which, I am 99.9% sure that they haven't. So there's nothing interesting for me to do in terms of PvE. Maybe. I could maybe make a little guide or something for specific builds. I could show a video on how it is that I make my build, and the rest is going to be just probably forest invasions and just forest in general, because that area is amazing for PvP. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got planned for this channel. I actually waited for someone to come over into this host's world because I was not gonna duel him, and this guy waves, and that's my cue to jump on him and hit him in the face. He actually dies by getting shot with the blunderbuss, which I found weird. I get flashbacks of me getting launched off of this bridge. I don't know if you guys remember that shit. I backdashed and the guy hit me with a cleaver in the similar to this video, and I was like so scared to dash back that I stood my ground and I just R1 mashed because I was so scared of getting launched off of the bridge. That was such a weird glitchy thing. I never got to reproduce that by myself. I think that you need to get hit and then instantly dodge away, and for some reason your character clips over the railing of the bridge and you basically just, you're dead. So yeah, I usually, in Bloodborne, I'll usually wait for hosts that are sort of wandering around the lamp, because I know that they're more than likely waiting for a co-opper. And when that happens, I just let them summon whoever they want to summon, because it makes it more interesting. Similarly, I think I'll more than likely do the same for Dark Souls 1 Remaster, because there is Poise, and I can actually tank hits and hit people with my very hard-hitting Ultra Greatsword, assuming they don't just insta-parry me. So yeah, I don't have to worry about straight sword stun locks anymore, which is something that I'm very much looking forward to. A lot of people don't like Poise. I always mention this, and I know that Poise is like super controversial. Whatever. It's been years, alright? At some point we gotta get over it, alright? Poise is a thing in Dark Souls 1, and only in Dark Souls 1, so whatever. You know, there's no reason why we should just constantly argue about it. There's no point. It doesn't matter. None of this matters. None of us matter. Oof. Anyway, so I actually didn't see that Confederate over there who was just next to me. Because the thing is, sometimes when there is a little bit of, well, not a little bit, but, you know, quite some lag, when people are moving around, you're not quite sure where they are. And that guy, I promise you, I didn't see him because he wasn't there, I swear. He was probably somewhere close by, but nowhere that I could actually see him. When I first entered this world, it was kind of laggy and whatever. And after some time, it seems to have stabilized a little bit. But yeah, my hunter character, my generic hunter. You know, a generic hunter is actually a pretty fun character to play as. It's a pretty fun, I'm not going to say build, because it's actually just a quality character. But just using the hunter weapons and the attire and then just sort of playing it like you think the hunter is, like the actual protagonist, I guess, of Bloodborne. It's actually pretty cool. It feels really, I don't know, it feels right, you know, when you play a character that's a cosplay or something and you're doing it in a way that you feel like, hey man, this really fits the character. I'm feeling this. That's why I do characters and not builds, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's another reason why I encourage people to do that. Sometimes you'll hear people say that, well, I'm not creative enough to make up a backstory for a character. And it's like, you don't have to write a novel about it, my man. All you gotta do is just give a basic backstory. This guy was a thief, and he escaped jail, and now he found himself in Yharnam, and everything's fucked up, and he's wondering what the hell's going on, and that's it. That can be your character. And you base his clothing and weapon choice, and I highly encourage you to pick up the playstyle of how you think that character would fight. So that right there is full immersion. So yeah, it's not really that hard, you know. It comes easier to me because I like to write stuff, short stories mostly, and it's really easy for me to just make a character, you know, just do an entire playthrough of creating this character. But anyway, guys, that's gonna be the update for this channel, and this is a pretty weird and pretty drawn out hunting grounds video, but Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.